Hello everyone and happy Thursday. You are watching Thursday Live Lessons here at UkuleleOnTheGround.com. My name is Aldrine Guerrero. I am joined by Mr. Aaron the Voice Nakamura. Say what up, Aaron.
What's up?
And Mr. Kahai the Man for again. Say what up, Kahai.
What's up?
So we are live right now. Sorry for the minutes or two lateness there. That was my fault. I was powdering my nose. Just getting ready, making sure I look good because it is live. You know what I mean? I don't want any blemishes in my face. Just joking. Welcome! It's live! And Live Lesson Thursdays, the way we do things around here is we answer any and all of your questions. Anything that comes in through email or through the site or through the forums, anything like that, we try to answer them as best as we can. Today we have a couple of tech checks, or as we like to call it, students, what is it?
Student review.
Student reviews. So we're changing the name so that it's not as intimidating to you folks, because we don't just check your technique, we check your progress, and that's why we do student reviews now. So we want to encourage sending these videos in, and that's why last week we did a contest, and we're going to announce the winner of that contest next week. But that's why we're trying to encourage you guys to do this, because we want to see your progress. We want to be as active as we can, so that we can guide you along this journey with the ukulele. Yeah, and we want you guys to have fun with it. It's one thing to to practice, but it's another thing to practice correctly. Because if there's something that you're doing and maybe the form is wrong, or the form can, there's even a possibility of you injuring yourself if the form is wrong. So the earlier, or the more videos that you guys can give us, so that we can have some kind of some kind of measuring stick of where you're at, the better. And the earlier we can get to those and we can fix those problems, the better. So I encourage all of you guys to take advantage of the student reviews, because they are free. I mean, not free, they're included with your membership. So I think you guys should take advantage of that. Seriously, you should take advantage of of the student reviews, because it doesn't cost you, it doesn't hurt to to get reviewed, because who wouldn't want to know if they're doing something wrong, right? I mean, I wish I had that kind of stuff back in the day, but yeah. So this is what Thursday Live Lessons about. We answer any and all of your questions. We also go over some of the uke minutes that we have here on the show, and on the show we've been going through some uke minutes, and we're currently on finger picking right now. So if you want to ask any questions about that, feel free to go ahead. But anyway, let's get started. Kahai, hit me up with a question, buddy.
Kenny has a couple questions, or a few
Sure.
questions.
Kenny Aligo, Kenny?
Yep.
Oh, what up, Kenny?
Yeah, Kenny's all over the place. He's
I know,
asking
man.
questions and doing everything. Kenny wanted clarification. He said that he's seen the course, and from what you're saying, is flat picking with the thumb, like where you just pick with the thumb.
Yeah.
And is finger picking using all your fingers? Like, is that the delineation? Is that what the difference is?
No, well, flat picking is like not just the thumb, but using one finger basically to do the picking, as if you were to hold like a pick. Because when you're holding a flat pick, and that's kind of where the term comes from, is a flat pick. When you hold up, do you have a flat pick on you right now, Kai? I know you carry picks and stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be a good visual for people.
I gotta dig in my wallet. Sorry.
And it's in the terms really. Flat, like flat picking refers to the flat pick that that you use when you. Oh, here we go. So, here we go. So Kahai, all the way from the music box.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hold a flat pick, it kind of emulates like a fingernail, or one of your fingers, either your thumb or your pointer finger or your middle finger. For some of you, you're gonna use your middle finger. When you hold it like this, and when you pick, and that's kind of flat picking, right? But we can simulate that. I'm gonna put it right here for now.
Yep.
I'll remember. I'll give it to you after the show. Well, we can simulate that flat picking by using our thumb you know, and we'll get somewhat of a better tone because you know, our thumb is a little bit thicker, it's a little bit rounder. You get a nicer sound. It's gonna sound a lot warmer because it's, you know, it's like the material too. You know, your nail is like a natural, you know, is a natural material. When that natural material hits the strings, it's gonna come out a little bit warmer. This is kind of a synthetic material. You're gonna hear the difference between tone, you know, versus this very bright tone of a synthetic. Right? So flat picking refers to that, you know, that style. Now finger picking is exactly what it sounds like. You know, you're using your fingers to pick on the strings. So, all right. So the term flat finger picking could also refer to, because you're using your fingers to pick, but flat picking. So you know, finger picking can be used for both. Finger picking like this, where you're hitting multiple strings and using multiple fingers, but flat picking is only that one. You know, either using one finger to you know, to pick the notes, or you know, or using a pick to pick the notes. So that can only be flat picking, but finger picking can either be flat picking or this finger picking with the multiple fingers. So it is a bit confusing, and it just depends which one you subscribe to. But for us here at Ukulele Underground, we refer to, you know, like picking of single notes and melody lines, you know, melody lines and single notes as flat picking, and anything that, you know, would require any kind of arpeggio kind of style of picking like this would be considered as finger picking. And that's kind of how we draw the line here at Ukulele Underground. Let me run this tuner again. I just changed my strings, guys.
To add on to that,
yeah.
Penny was wondering if there's any exercises to build up finger picking speed.
Yes, I think we're gonna talk about that in a little bit, because the next Uke Minute is like finger picking exercises and stuff. So
Okay.
if Ken, if you can just hold off for a little bit, we're gonna be going over that in today's lesson. So some exercises and whatnot.
Yeah. So then Kenny also had a question about singing and playing. If there's anything he can do, like simple strumming, but when he adds in chunks and rolls, it takes a lot of conscious effort, and he can't do both. So is there any advice, or should he just keep at it?
There's no substitution for just keeping at it, for just keep doing it, because, you know, like I could give you 1,000,001 advice, but you know, until you kind of go and just keep doing it, it's not gonna make any difference. But you know, on top of keeping at it, I would suggest just, you know, keeping it simple and then gradually adding some things. So, you know, if you're having a hard time with rolls and with chunks, I would start out with the rolls first, because rolls are a little bit easier, you know, for me anyway, than chunks are. And I would add them, you know, like one at a time. So I think we have exercises on UU where like you would add the rolls in different places. So I'll do maybe a roll on one, and then regular strumming on the rest. So be like 1, 2, 3, 4. And a great exercise for that is to do exactly what I'm doing, as I'm saying the words 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, just by me vocalizing what I have in my mind and keeping this rhythm steady, that actually helps a lot when you vocalize like lyrics and music and song to you playing. Now, you know, if you stated you were a singer, what I would like to suggest is to sing your 1, 2, 3, 4 while you're doing these exercises. So, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, like just sing out loud. Don't just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Like sing some kind of melody line to the 1, 2, 3, 4. Because what you're doing is you're not only vocalizing while you're practicing that strum, you know, the rolls and whatnot. You're also working on adding notes to the to your vocals while you do that. And it doesn't have to be, you know, like it doesn't have to be perfect. You can just make stuff up. You can just improvise like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, like just whatever you feel like singing, just sing that out loud while you do your exercise. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like you're just kind of adding those notes in there while you're strumming, and it'll help you keep the rhythm steady, and it'll help you sing and play at the same time. I know I've mentioned this before, but I am revamping 101, and it's great that you guys have these questions because these are the things that I'm actually working on, and that's what I'm adding on to the 101, is to not just, because I think on 101 I mentioned, just like keep the steady rhythm and talk, and like, just see if you can converse, and that's that's good advice. But I want to add on this where like, you're doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, but you're vocalizing and you're adding music to the numbers. And so while you count, you're actually singing and playing at the same time and practicing, the rolls and the chunks. So even if you're just like singing out whatever the strumming pattern is. So for example, the strumming pattern is roll down, up, down, up, roll down, up, down, up, 1, 2. So roll down, up, down, up, 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 roll down, up. You're actually singing and keeping rhythm steady with with your hand, and you're working on all these elements all at the same time. So that's my my new, I should say, my new advice on learning how to sing and play at the same time. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Our
Yeah, that's good.
the class that should be coming out later this
Yeah.
month, EU 100,
Uh-huh.
has a lot of that, like a lot of you singing and then playing while you're
Yeah.
singing and making sure you're in time. But I think like some people will probably say like, oh, but I don't want to sing,
Yeah. Yeah.
But even if you don't want to sing, just like what you said, saying it
Saying it
will really help your just your rhythm, your internal rhythm, and
Yeah.
that's what you want to build up, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's I can't really sing, and I know that helps me.
Yeah.
Just even saying it. So.
Yeah, it's kind of singing and playing at the same time. I can see, how it is hard for people because you are doing like two separate things, and sometimes like the singing rhythm, the rhythm of the singing doesn't even coincide with the strumming, but it is to the same beat.
Yeah.
And so it's just like engaging two separate parts of your brain at the same time to the same beat, but differently. And so it's kind of, it's, I don't know, we should probably devise some better ways of helping people develop that.
Yeah, sing and play at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is like something though that you have to get good at, and then it's like you forget playing, right? Or like you forget one of them. Like you're not consciously thinking about singing.
Yeah.
If you're if you need more help with strumming, then you're probably thinking about strumming, and your singing is just happening, or you're just strumming, and then it's like you're thinking about what the next lyric is gonna be or what's gonna come up.
You know what I was thinking too? One thing that I noticed that they do in drum circles a lot is like they have one guy playing the whatever 1, 2, 3, 4, and keeping that steady, and then they tell you like come up with a rhythm that is still to that beat, but like the rhythm is different.
Yeah.
And if you hear somebody next to you that's doing the same beat as you, switch yours up. And so like you end up doing like kind of different
counter rhythms.
Rhythms to the same, but to that same tempo. And but you're also still listening to everybody else.
I see.
And so that might be something to practice, because strumming is basically drumming.
Yeah.
It's
adding rhythm. That's like
how,
Yeah,
that's what it is. So I don't know, like we can kind of come up with some practices like similar to that, because if you can, I feel like if you can drum with your right hand, you can strum.
Yeah.
So
good. Yeah, great advice. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so hopefully, and I know Ken is on the chat right now, and he's saying that he's going to be applying it. So we look forward to your progress, Ken. We also got your tech check in, so we're watching close. We're watching you closely. All right, anything else?
Leanne just added to that she can do it most of the time, but sometimes it's hard because of syncopation.
Yeah, that can
Yeah.
get tricky, and it's just just like what Ken was saying, it's just keeping at it. So it took you a while to get there, to do the singing and playing at the same time, and now it's just it's just another, like, the next level basically is what it is, and you're just gonna take as much time as you spent learning how to sing and play at the same time. It's probably gonna be as you have to put the same amount of effort in order to get to the next level, and then there's a next level after that, and then the next level after that. That's why learning the ukulele is just like never ending, and you're just gonna keep getting better and better if you keep at it.
Yeah, and even then, there will always be a song where it's kind of hard to sing and play at the same
Yeah.
time. Even if you're pretty well versed
Right.
at singing and playing at the same time,
Yeah.
like certain songs just have a weird beat or
It
a
does,
weird
it does.
weird rhythm for the vocals.
Yeah.
So you'll always encounter
Uh-huh.
a song that's a little hard, but
It's good, and I mean,
Yeah.
I challenge a lot of people to do this, because it's not easy trying to get to the whole, like, singing and playing at the same time, and then the next level, like, sometimes what I like I like to try to do nowadays is to because Aaron basically strums for me, right, and my job is to do the picking, but like, I can't be doing the picking and singing at the same time, or can I? Like, that's kind of what I've been working on. So there's always going to be another level that that you want to be working on and that you can achieve. For me, it's it's like picking and singing at the same time. So I'm doing this one rhythm, and then, like, I'm doing, like, picking and
Yeah.
like, while I'm singing that rhythm. So it does it does tend to get a bit tricky, but there's always like a next level to reach, and there's a next level after that, and blah blah blah. Adding, like, the difficult techniques to the picking while you're singing, it gets ridiculous, because there's like, How Can I Get Over, there's that song
Yeah.
we play, and I
Yeah.
do, like, picking while I'm trying to sing it, and it gets difficult.
yeah, or like the picking
Yeah.
starts before you start singing
Yeah.
and ends while you're singing.
Yeah.
while you start singing, so it's kind of
Yeah, it's a bit difficult, and there's we play a song, what is that? It's Drift Away, where, like, I do, like, tapping and I sing at the same time. Like, that is, like, so there's always going to be a next the next level, and for me, it's just like what Leanne said. It's just trying to figure out like, the difficult syncopations that you want to be doing against the vocal, like the rhythm of the vocals, the rhythm of the strumming and the picking stuff is going to be different, and some people are amazing at that. Like James Hill can, like, split his brain into, like, 4 or 5 different different rhythm things and still keep it. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
that should be illegal. There should be regulations for that. Should be drug tested.
Yeah.
He's eating that Canadian bacon.
Something-
Something in that
something-
Canadian bacon.
yeah. Yeah.
I think it seems like listening to James's, like, original music,
Yeah.
like, when he performs, that's how he thinks about his arrangements too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He
Like,
he
it's
plays all
basically-
parts
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling Kahai while we were in China at
Yeah.
that Music China,
Yeah.
I saw because, like, piano is basically that, right? You're playing one thing with
Yeah.
your left hand and one thing with your right hand,
Yeah.
and so you have to split your brain into two separate things.
Just to play it.
Yeah, and I was walking by and I saw this girl and she was playing. They have those organs, right?
Yeah.
So there's like a 2-layer piano, and then the
That's
bottom,
a full body workout.
and then the bottom, yeah, on your feet you have like another keyboard
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the bottom. But it was like kind of like a MIDI. Everything was MIDI,
That's
and so
crazy.
she had some stuff going on the top keyboard, some in the middle, and then she was also playing drums with her feet.
What?
And so like, to anybody else, it just
Yeah.
seemed like somebody playing piano to
Yeah.
a background track.
Yeah.
But if you watched both hands and her feet, she was playing all of the sounds, and it sounded like a movie soundtrack. like
crazy.
it sounded like a full orchestra movie soundtrack, and she was doing all the parts, and I just like my brain like exploded because how can you know?
Yeah.
I think
It was amazing. It was really
But then that's what we were talking about too. Is like I think for that, like you have to turn off parts of your brain, right? Like we think like that person is just focusing everything in their brain onto different parts. But
yeah.
it's just like they're going like, okay, that part is taken care of. Like I don't need to think about that part.
I guess you
Yeah.
you just have to be that
Yeah.
well trained
Ye-
to where you don't have to think about so much, and you can think of the piece as a whole, but still you still have to
Yeah.
know what is coming in at the
Yeah.
right
Right.
times, and
Right.
it's just
That's tough.
yeah.
tough.
So so I don't know. Some people are just like that, or
Yeah, because I mean, I remember my first time with the whole like singing and playing at the same time. Like, it was when I first learned the ukulele. Like, this lady was showing me how to play surf, and then like she taught me how to play it, and then she's like, "No, okay, now sing it." I was like, and then like. And we just
Yeah.
did it together, and like she was singing with me, and it was pretty cool because I could kind of, because she was singing it, I could kind of play to what she was singing, and then I could kind of sing along because she was singing. Like, there was something I could follow, and I think ever since then I just started doing it that way, where I would kind of listen to a CD and follow along with what they're doing. Because regardless of if I mess up, that CD is gonna keep going, or that lady is gonna keep singing, regardless if I mess up. So I would kind of force myself to like, oh, okay, gotta catch up. The next
Stay-
line is
yeah.
this. Yeah.
yeah.
That's kind of the hard thing if you're playing like live or not live, but if you're playing with somebody else
Yeah.
and they don't know to keep going and they stop, then it's like like both
Yeah,
of you,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's the nice thing about playing with the recording. It is that it just keeps going, and you can't really dwell on like, oh, I made a mistake. I gotta stop and do this. It's like you just gotta keep playing. So
Okay.
yeah. That was pretty much the
Okay. That question
Yeah.
section. Okay.
Oh wait, I
that's-
got one from Eric,
Okay.
and he was asking about the Carol of the Bells U plus solos
Yes.
arrangement. There's that one part where it kind of you play chords up and then you stretch your finger down, and he was asking if there's any better way to play that, or is that the best way to play it?
I'm trying to think which part would that.
Oh well, cause he sent a video and he
Okay.
showed me what part, but I
You
don't
know,
know if you remember that part.
You play the first part. Yeah, and then you play like the harmonies to that, right?
Yeah.
Like where you go further up, yeah. And then
That one.
you also go down with your
like, huh?
No, it's like it's a part where like yeah,
Like that?
yeah,
Yeah.
and then it goes down, right?
That
Yeah.
chord?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
but
forgot how-
you
'cause
yeah.
we filmed it so long ago. But let's see
Yeah,
if we
it
can
was
pull
those
up
it was
somewhere.
those chords.
that? Like-
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Da-da-da.
And then that last one, yeah. So he was asking that chord progression, is there a better way to, because that's kind of a stretch, right? Or is
Yeah.
that the best way to?
There can be. I mean, like you can use your ring and pinky there instead. So you could do this. So once you go to this one, because it goes G minor to B flat, and then to switch here, use that so that you can you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
stretch this.
Yeah,
you know what I
have a
mean?
little bit more
Had a-
space.
yeah, so I just use this because I'm keeping these two fingers intact. But you have an extra finger here, which would make that stretch a little bit easier. And that's just. But some people are not too keen on using their pinky finger, so that's why I try to avoid it sometimes as much as I can. So it's like ba la 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 la. You can do that. So this stretch doesn't seem too impossible, because I see what you mean though, because your pointer finger and your middle finger is this far apart, but with this, your pointer finger, middle finger, can be nice and nicely spaced like this. So the stretch is kind of spaced out. It's not as bad. That's one thing that I could do. So do I just strum that or do I pick it?
You pick it.
Because I could do.
Not like that. You do I guess it's more of strumming.
Yeah, just strum
Yeah,
that
so if I
part.
strummed it, yeah, that would be no problem because I think if I picked it, then that would be like, okay, there's a reason why I did it that way, you know. But if I'm just strumming it, you can just go. So it wouldn't be too bad. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. You know, there's like uke minute I think on stretching your fingers. Yeah.
That was I sent him that uke minute too.
Okay. Yeah.
So
What?
That. So it's kind of dispersed.
yeah, it's hard just because those chords come so quickly.
Right.
You would
Say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
yeah,
1,
and then
2,
you're
3, 1, 2, 3.
yeah, so you're changing up your fingers just for that one.
Yeah, that's easier.
Yeah.
I think at the speed that you go though,
Yeah.
like you have to go back up, yeah.
Yeah.
So moving back up is kind of hard to switch from your.
This pinky, nah,
See-
just because it just goes. If you keep, you know, like I mentioned about using the shape up in the air. So if you just go like this, if you keep the shape of your middle and ring finger like so, moving it up is not a, you know, it shouldn't be too much. But I can see where they would run into some problems. But as long as you keep the shape intact, you can put the shape back.
Yeah.
To me, like like that holding that shape seems like like the way that you first did it seems like it makes sense to hold those two main strings, right?
Yeah.
And then your fingers moving the other parts. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
No. Yeah. No.
No. Okay.
Oh.
So that's
I actually got a question about somebody was working on UU Plus solos, and then I guess he was saying that there are some kind of weird sounds that he was making, but I mean that's one that we have to have a video of it.
That's a student review.
Yeah, so if at any time that you find you have a question about something like that,
Yeah.
it's hard to describe, you know, like, you know,
Yeah.
we really need to see. So
Because it can be, you know, like it can be a number of things. It's not
Yeah.
just like one solution.
yeah, so
Yeah.
please send in
Because we don't want to give you the wrong advice out of guesswork, you know, like
yeah,
like I think it's this, and then you fix it, you know, or you do what we tell you,
and it doesn't
you know, it
do
doesn't
anything. Yeah.
So you're like, I hate Oogla on the ground. They're giving me the wrong advice. Like,
we're trying. Yeah.
No. We
But-
want you to be like, man, Oogla on the ground is awesome. That's what we want.
Yeah.
So, you know, we want to
As much info as we can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
steer you in the right direction. All right, so let's. I mentioned earlier that we got a few tech checks. So we did. I keep saying tech. I'm gonna say tech check for a little bit until I can get used to
Yeah.
the student reviews. So we got a student review. One of them is from Francesca, and she did Silent Nights. Okay, so Francesca, I don't know if she usually watches, right? So her. She did well. Okay, so first off, I want to say you did really well. I like the arrangement of Silent Night that you did. A lot of open stuff. Right. So I think that's what it was. I like the arrangement. Whoever made that arrangement, it's pretty cool. But okay, here's the here's what can change. There's like little things that you do after the Silent Night, right? So you do Silent Night, right? You do like that little thing in there. The problem with that, okay, is that remember when we talked about I don't know if you were here for the seminar for chord melodies, but chord melodies, I mentioned, like it's like a stage play, right? You got your main characters in the front, which is the main melody, and then you got like the chords and anything else, any kind of embellishments that you want to add to kind of enhance what the main characters are doing. But there's a spotlight. There's always a spotlight on the main the main characters. So the spotlight should be on, like it should be that should be louder than everything else that you're gonna play in this song. So when you're gonna when you play, so when you do that, You play the thing afterwards, and you're gonna play that, a little bit louder. It's not gonna make too much sense, because what needs to be in front is the melody line, because all of this other stuff that you're adding, like, it's just extra. Okay, it's just like the little ditties right on the, right at the end of the phrase. Like, ditties are great. Okay, I love those, and I do those a lot. But you don't want to take away from what you're doing with the main melody. So if I were to do the adjustment, it would sound like. See, like how it just kind of remains in the background. Like, it's there. I'm definitely doing something there. I'm definitely doing a little ditty. I'm adding embellishments and whatever. Even if I'm adding like ridiculous ones, as long as it's not louder than my main melody line. So I can do a. Like adding those little things in there, regardless of what I'm adding. This needs to be the loudest thing. Okay, that needs to be right up front. Everything that you're doing is just complementing that melody line. All right, so keep that in mind. Keep the melody line in mind. Always melody line first. Okay, when you're listening to a song, you listen to a pop song, you listen to an old classic, or whatever. The lyrics are always going to be louder than everything, because that's where the story comes from. There's this person telling the story, and then with music behind it, right? So if you know what I mean, like it would be completely different if we watched The Wizard of Oz, and here comes Judy Garland, like singing like Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and like the strings are just drowning her out. Like it doesn't sound too well. Okay, so make sure that your embellishments and little ditties are not louder than what you're doing. And it's not just that part, it's pretty much the whole song that what you're doing. I wanted to hear the melody line more, and that one is a bit tricky because your melody line is all open, like open strings. So because they're all open strings, here's another thing. When you add little embellishments on top of that, you're gonna have to stop those notes from ringing out. Okay, so what's happening is when you play, and then you're gonna have to stop those notes from ringing out in order for you to add that, right? So you might want to avoid doing that. All right, so I would maybe suggest doing like adding it down here, so that I can use this G to act kind of like as a ghost note. So instead of going, I can maybe go up. See that? Like I just added that one little thing, and it made that melody line pop out. And you're adding expression in there, and it's the background rings out, the main melody rings out. It's just it's just better than letting it use the open strings, and then using those same strings to play something else. So you have to cut off the vibrations of those strings in order to play this. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense? That does, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so be careful of that. Also, one last thing, and I say this to pretty much like 90% of the people who send in student reviews. Timing is very, 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 very important. Imagine somebody trying to sing along to you, because Silent Night, very famous song, you start playing it for somebody. That person's like, oh, I love that song, and they're gonna sing along to you, or they're gonna sing along at least in their heads, even if they don't, if they don't want to be rude and like try to sing over you playing, they're gonna sing it in their head. And if there's a stagger, or if there's anything, like that doesn't quite match up with what they have in their heads, and I'm not saying that you should play it completely perfect. There's definitely a lot of room for for free form in the rhythm, but make sure that it's always flowing. Once that flow stops, then that's when the person's gonna be like, oh, that's, you know, the person listening is gonna be like, oh, there was a little bit of hesitation there, you know, and that's what's tricky about doing songs like Silent Night, because it is slow. Okay, that flow of a slow song is going to be a lot harder because you need to ring out those notes. If those notes don't ring out as long as they should be ringing out, you're gonna have dead space. Okay, so that's one thing that you should be careful of. Timing is huge. Okay, get that timing right, because even if you're doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, you can hold that. You know, you can do it. You can make that as long and the others as short as you want, but as long as they keep going, as long as it flows, as long as you don't stop the flow, it should be fine. So what I mean is, like, stopping the flow is like a, you know, like something like that, where like there's a noticeable gap. You don't want those noticeable gaps in there. And I know, like, you know, it's something that you're working on, and it is a student review and a tech check, but see if you can get the rhythm down first. Play it as slow. You know, you don't have to play it to full speed like right away. Play it as slow as you can, as long as you're landing on those notes nice, clean, and you're getting these the flow correct. Then it'll, you know, sound really good. And that's, I mean, it's a lot of people have problems with the flow and with what's the word I'm looking for? With phrasing. So it's something that you kind of either you know, you're just gonna get one of these days. You're like, I understand what, you know, like what I need to do in order to make this flow, or in order to make the phrase sound correct. But those are just kind of things that you want to keep in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, she's saying that she does know where she slows down, and it's mostly where the chord switches.
Yeah.
And I feel like most of the time it is. You know, when you're changing your hand position, that's when people kind of like, oh no, you know, and that's where the gaps in you know, timing
and you
usually happen. So it's just a matter of just
keeping
comfortable with those transitions.
Right. So that's, you know, it's my best advice. Definitely work with the metronome. You know, because if you hesitate like that, the metronome will tell you where, you know, and if you gotta slow it down, so it'll give you more time to chord switch. But because, you know, no one's forcing you to do it at that speed, right? So just take it at a speed that you can first, and then build up to whatever speed that you want to. There's no pressure, you know, just have fun with it.
You were saying earlier that it's hard because playing the open strings is gonna ring out and it's gonna be louder, right? So she said that she wanted to, in her like kind of email to me, she said that she wanted to create a simpler version for beginners. So that's why she went with the open strings. But should she kind of maybe think about playing with you know, C inversions, or playing where it's like where she is holding down the strings, so the notes don't quite ring out as much, and she has more control with it, with her left hand anyways, right?
Yeah, because I mean, if we're looking at the composition as a whole, okay, you can't just have just like one section for beginners and then the rest of it like they don't get, because you did, like, you know, inversions of that D minor, you know, like so in order to add the little things that I was saying, it doesn't really, you know, take much. You don't have to be an intermediate student. You don't have to be an advanced student to do. You have to just hold your middle finger here of, you know, to do something like that. It's just, I would really try to not stay away, but refrain from using the G on your as your melody lines, because using the G for your melody line pretty much takes it out as a ghost note. Okay, and if you want the arrangement to keep flowing, that G is very very important as your ghost note to drive the tune. But then you got guys like, you know, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to say it like stay away from doing it because you got guys like John King and all these guys who are like masters of the campanellas and and using the G and stuff. But even then, they ring out the G and then move to the next note. So if you're using that G in your melody line, make sure you don't use that same note when you're adding embellishments, because you're gonna stop it from ringing out. Is what I'm trying to say.
It seems like if you use it for both ghost notes and the main melody, it sounds like it's confusing as to whether you're like
which one is it?
And as a listener, what you're supposed to be listening to, right? Like, oh, am I supposed to be listening to it as a ghost note or as a melody line? So that's
so it does get tricky.
Nice.
So, but it's artistic licenses for some people. Like I said, like John King, amazing at like the campanella techniques, and Chris Salvador, amazing at that kind of stuff. Jake, he's been really good, at that kind of stuff lately. So there are guys that can like really be precise in doing it. I'm okay at campanellas, not like them, but I would I would still kind of be aware of when I'm using that G, and if I'm going to use
sort of takes more skill to to do it well.
Be really aware. Yeah.
It's a situational thing, right?
Yeah,
like,
it is.
You have to be aware of what situation you're doing. So those guys probably won't be like, I'm gonna put it everywhere.
Yeah. They're like, oh, well, I want to get to this note, and I don't want to,
strategic.
I really liked seeing Francesca's video, because it's like when she first started, she was like asking us questions, and she's just sending in stuff. But like now she said like she doesn't know if it's somebody else's arrangement or how she picked it up, but she just like figured it out kind of by herself. So I think it's really showing progress that as a musician too, like just figuring out music.
So trying to arrange stuff. Yeah, that's the natural progress or progression for music, is to eventually want to make your own, and that's great. We love encouraging that kind of stuff. So, that's I appreciate you trying to create very simple arrangement of Silent Night, and it's it's working, but it's tough to call it a beginner thing, and then you're like using inversions like afterwards, and although like simple inversions, still like a normal player won't go beyond say the 3rd fret. So if you're gonna add that, you might as well add just the one one finger here to do. So even if I'm adding, because using this as my main notes, it's so there's so much to it, because this string is a lot thicker. It's going to work better as as your melody line note anyway. As far as that thing cutting through the rest of the through the rest of the notes, this is not gonna cut through as much as this would. Like you can already hear it.
Isn't it also the way that you're picking it too? Like
you're
picking
it goes
with
up.
and then with your nail more, right? Like so you get that tone out, and then with the G ghost note, you're picking with your thumb or your flesh more.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hiding it more.
Yes. So that. Let's move on. It's next one.
Yeah.
Oh, Ken. Yeah, Ken Aligo. So Ken sent us a guava jam thing, but for some reason it is just not loading for us.
The video.
Yeah, the video is just not loading. So I would
Yeah, it's not like Ken doesn't have to do anything. We just gotta watch the video.
We just gotta watch the video. It's just not loading. So it's probably our internet. Our internet is shot here sometimes, and So give us till next week, Ken. Hopefully our internet lets up and we see it. But Guava Jam's a great song. I can't wait to hear it.
I think did we already go over this one? It's from George. And George said "Oti Joy." He
I watched it last week.
Yeah, he sent in another one last time. So.
Okay, well, let's do that next week as well.
Okay.
Because so that we'll just get through his, because since I watched it last week, I don't really quite remember. I'd have to watch it again.
Okay.
But because I try to watch these right before we do the show, so that it's kind of fresh. I know what I'm going to be, I know the points that I'm going to be covering, and so. see if you can send it again. I don't know why it's not it's not going, but we tried refreshing a bunch of times, and we're getting the YouTube message of
you were able to get it right.
Yeah,
oh,
I think it's just our internet.
Okay.
Yeah,
so hopefully next week.
Yeah, Ken, I don't think you need to send it in, or I don't think you need to worry about it. Yeah. So.
Okay, so as far as today's uke minutes that we wanted to go over, I just wanted to go over like exercises and rhythm stuff that you can do to get your finger picking a lot better. So I want you guys to take your favorite chord progression and strumming pattern. All right. So for example, mine is say G and A minor, and I like to do down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up. So what I want you guys to do is to just kind of see those favorite, or take those favorite rhythms and strumming patterns and chord patterns that you have, and just substitute a finger picking to them instead. So instead of going down, down, up, down, up, you can do so you go down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So instead of the strumming patterns that I would do, I would substitute a note in there instead. So pick whatever random notes that you like to do, but I would suggest starting low, building up. Okay, so I almost always start in a C, sometimes E, if I'm gonna go up from there, but my down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, up. Okay. So that's like some of the practices that you can do. So take another one, maybe do down, down. I'm trying to think of what down chunk. That's like the same one. Once I have like a rhythm stuck in my head, like that's all that I think about sometimes. Okay, maybe down up down down up down. Even just maybe just do 2 and 4. Do 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and you're probably saying, "Oh man, but that sounds so dull." It's just like that. You're going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's where multiple strings come in. So, that might not sound too appealing to you. But say you use 2 fingers to play your bottom 2 strings. To do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now it's starting to sound a little bit better. Maybe use the 2 middle strings. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it sounds a little bit more full. Maybe what you want to do is maybe use 3. So instead of using those 2, maybe use these 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we can stagger it. Maybe we can do the low note first and the high note. So instead of doing the 1 and 3 as nothing, you want to add maybe like a bass note in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So same thing with your down, down, up, down, up. Maybe you can do down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up. You can even see if you can alternate between C and G. So or maybe you can use the G. But the point is to just kind of experiment with different string combinations. Maybe do C and A. So down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So we got all of these different sounding things with just G and A minor. We're just changing up which strings we're hitting instead of doing the strums. So there's a lot of different combinations that you guys can discover by just trying it out. So instead of giving you guys a specific one saying like, oh, do this instead, I want you guys to start getting familiar with your strings, getting familiar with your ukuleles, and pretty much just playing what feels right. So I want to go back to that whole just press, saying. So the whole just press. If it sounds good to you, then it's gonna, then it's good. Okay, that's your thing. It sounds good to you, and that's all that really matters sometimes. So I don't want to give a specific finger picking pattern because I want you guys to experiment. Okay, so when you when you go out and you go practice this week, I want you guys to practice just feeling out the strings and feeling out what sounds good. And you're going to realize like, okay, maybe that note doesn't work there as, for that beat. Maybe this note works better. And you're gonna find finger picking patterns that work for you. Okay, these finger picking patterns and whatever patterns that we showed here at Ukulele Underground is just out of the trial and error and stuff that sounded good to me. Okay, so this into out picking and whatever, although there is reasons for why that sounds good, it's also one of the finger picking patterns that I've come across that works pretty much with any situation. The into out, out to in, it just an arpeggio going from bottom to top and back to bottom to top, so on and so forth. But there are numerous different combinations. I would say thousands of different combinations because you don't have to play each note as an eighth note or a quarter note or a 16th note. There's many different combinations of strings. Dare I say millions of combinations that you can do with finger picking. So I want you guys to experiment them all. Okay, start out with quarter notes, go with eighth notes, then 16th notes, and so on and so forth. Or maybe just do something simple. But start off with taking your favorite rhythm patterns and strumming patterns and substituting finger picking for your strumming patterns. Okay.
And you said you use G and A minor as an example, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be those.
No, it doesn't have to be that. No.
It can be whatever chords that you want, right?
Pick your favorite strumming pattern, pick your favorite chord pattern, and just do it that way. And then maybe you can work on your singing at the same time. So if I was say working on on my song, there's a song that I did for Ukulele Underground called Ice Cream. Like every day with her feels like a sunrise every hour. Just constantly showing me beauty. So instead of doing that, so my strumming pattern is that down. 2. Like a brand new day. With her voice, she knows just what to say to melt my heart away. And she sings the songs to serenade me back together, yeah. So, instead of doing the strumming pattern, add some kind of other finger picking pattern in there. And if I want to just go, every day with her feels like a sunrise every hour. That's one of those things where like singing and doing the rhythm pattern is a little bit different. So, yeah, try to experiment, see what sounds good to you, because that's kind of how I did it. That's how pretty much everybody did. There are some set ways like into out and out to in, and we've taught those on this site. But there is no substitute to figuring it out on your own and experimenting on your own and playing what sounds good to you. Okay, there's no substitute for that. And that's I want to stress that out as much as I can. Just try it out, and it doesn't have to feel like an exercise too, because sometimes practice feels like I have to go I have to go and practice this. It doesn't have to feel like an exercise or like a practice. You can take it and play your favorite songs that way. So if you're one of those people that can sing and play at the same time, try to do finger picking and that same kind of pattern instead of the strumming. So instead of playing I don't wanna wait for your love. Like down, 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 down. that's all just random, you know. So that's something that you could do is take your favorite song and instead of strumming it, maybe do some finger picking instead. Okay. Anybody want to add anything?
Well, Rick is saying that some patterns just feel more natural while others feel more awkward.
Yep, because I mean there are some finger picking patterns that that some people do that for me are like, oh, why would you go to that note? But that's what sounds good to them. And there are some things that that sound good to you and me, but to somebody else, and that's why experimenting and trying stuff out and seeing what sticks is the best way of doing it. Because if I give you something and it's not going to work for every single song, and the best way to do it is to just be familiar, so you know what each string is going to sound like. So you're gonna you'll eventually gain a consciousness of like, okay, I need to go to this note on that rhythm. I need to go on this note. I need to play this note, or I need to play this string. I need to play that string, and it gets more complicated when you're adding melody lines, just like what we did last week. When you're adding melody lines to you're changing up that finger picking pattern. So it's not necessarily a pattern anymore. It's just like you're trying to make room in that pattern so that it fits the melody line. So that pattern is broken anyway, So feeling it out and trying stuff, see what sticks is the best way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. If so like for this practice.
Yeah.
Like instead of sometimes we tell people like to practice and it's gonna feel a little wonky, but if you just keep doing it, it's gonna feel better.
Mm-hmm.
For this one, like maybe if it feels weird, then don't just move on.
Change it up.
Yeah, you can move on. This one is about experimenting, right?
Yeah.
So you can
try out different things.
Yeah, because that's the best way to do it. I mean, I'm gonna be 1,000% honest. It's finger picking. Like the best way to do it is to just go like head first in the water,
Try it, yeah.
Just try it out and see. And you're gonna quickly know that, like, okay, well, because like you said, some parts sound awkward. So like there's something in there that you need to change up. Maybe like instead of playing a high note, play a lower note, so that it doesn't sound awkward. So you're already hearing a difference between what it should sound like and why it sounds so awkward. So that in that sense, like see if you can break it down. What makes it sound awkward, and then see if you can change up that 1 or 2 or 3 notes, because that's really all it is sometimes.
One thing that I noticed with finger picking too, it usually sounds more natural and feels more natural if you pick the A string on a time when you would do an up strum.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's going up. You're picking up.
Yeah. So you would hit the and because when you hit a up strum, the A is more prominent anyway. So maybe be aware of some of those kind of things too.
So that's one that's a great point. That's one way that that Aaron has figured out that like that's what sounds good. Like it's not always going to be that's not like written in stone or anything, but that works for him. Because that does feel natural, and the A string is going to be more dominant when you're doing an up strum anyway. But then you got songs like Guava Jam, where like that melody line is on the A string, so it needs to be on the downbeat, as well as the upbeat. So it's gonna change. Like not every song is going to be the same. So us saying that like this is what you need to this one is the one that you need to learn. It's like it doesn't match with everything, and that's kind of just some stuff that you have to feel out for yourself.
I think that's why people like doing, or that's why the claw hammer.
Yeah.
That feels like natural to people, is because you're going down with your thumb and then up with your pointer finger right up.
Yeah.
So you're already kind of still doing the
strum motion.
Yeah. So it's easy to go from strumming to that.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got guys like say like James Taylor, one of the best finger pickers of all time. James Taylor. I'm sure somebody didn't go up to him and be like, okay, well here's the pattern, like of how you're gonna play like Fire and Rain. It's like no, he kind of did it. He's thinking about like what notes like sound good to him, and that's how he executes it. And when I play my guitar, I got 6 strings. I got even more combinations to work with. So
yeah, in fact, there is like a video of James Taylor explaining how to play Fire and Rain. I don't know if you guys saw it on
I didn't see
YouTube.
that.
Yeah, and he pretty much goes like, "Here's how you hold a chord, and then you just do this thing." And then it's like, yeah, that's because that's what felt natural
Yeah,
to
that's
him,
what-
and
that-
he
whatever
doesn't
feels
even
natural.
really think about it. He just kind of does it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a song that I think about, like that probably doesn't have like where it's like, okay, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna figure out this, like, you know, what is the exact finger picking?
Yeah.
Is like is it House at Pooh Corner?
Oh.
Like that's just chords and then
Yeah.
he's finger picking
The chords,
over.
yeah, the chords.
So it's like it's not really like
There's no
You-
set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you have to play the A string, then you have to
Yeah.
play the D string,
Yeah.
then the G
Yeah.
string.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
like-
because it's not like I mean, I would understand if you were like, say, like a classical student, and you know, like there's definitely a set pattern for that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for classical music, you know, these notes need to be played at this time. Like I understand that if there's if there's music in front of you, but if you're just learning how to finger pick in general, I think that should come as natural as possible. And you know, this is the only way that it's gonna, you know, that you guys are going to learn it as, you know, as efficient as it should be, is to learn it as natural as possible.
I think that's how most of us learned it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
like
yeah.
we just picked it up and
Yeah.
then it's not really like you
Yeah.
go online and look at, oh,
Right.
what strings do I,
Yeah.
you know, pick? It's just like, I guess these sound like
Yeah, and but at the same time, you know, don't feel alone. Don't feel like don't feel like you're just doing this by yourself or you're doing this alone. We're always here to help you. So, you know, go ahead and experiment and stuff. And like when you find something cool or when you find like you're stuck or something, just, you know, like take a video of it, send it to us to be like, hey, you know, like I like that pattern. That pattern sounds good. I think you should stick with that pattern. And we'll give you feedback on some of the stuff that you experimented with and the ideas that you've come up, that you came up with. So that's what we're here for, you know. So don't feel like you're alone doing this, because that's what the student evaluations are for, or student reviews are for.
I think people with the tech checks, people were like,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, I got to get a song perfect first before
No.
I send in this tech check. We actually want to see
Yeah.
like what you guys are
Yeah.
working on, you know. And it's not just to be like, for us, it's not just to be like, oh, this is what you need to do, and then
Yeah.
this is what you need to fix.
Yeah.
It's actually cool to see us, or
Yeah.
for us to see you guys progressing and
Mhm.
where you guys are. So
Yeah. So
we
even
like
though,
it.
you know, we're giving you guys the not necessarily homework, but the the challenge of trying it out and experimenting. But you know, we would like to still be as active with you as possible. So let us know. You know, send us some. I keep forgetting the name.
Student
Tech check
reviews.
is just so easy to say.
Yeah.
Student reviews to to do it, and you know, we like the imperfections, like what Kai was saying. That's what it's for. Actually, it's not
Oh.
really for people like showing us how perfect they are. It's, you know.
Yeah, I hope like everybody who sent in videos so far, like they get that feeling that
Mm-hmm.
like at first when we first watch it, like usually all of us will be like, this is really cool that this person is doing so well, you know.
Yeah.
And we're not looking for like professionals or
Yes.
you know, we're looking for just I don't know, we just want to
Yeah,
see where you
yeah,
are.
and it's kind of cool because, you know, like it also takes us back, because we get reminded of when we were, you know, like doing these things. So all the things you're having a hard time with, at some point in our lives, we've also came through that same that same path of like, oh man, like what do I do with this? So that's what we love to help out, and that's one of the main reasons we started this site, is because, you know, like we've done those things, and we want to be able to help out as many people as we can with their own journeys.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
we want to, going forward, we want to do like more of that.
Yeah.
And talking with you guys and
Yep.
getting, you know, feedback.
Want to be as
and everything.
active,
So, Mm-hmm.
with you as possible. So, all right, that's gonna have to do it for this week's Thursday live lesson. Once again, my name is Aldrin Guerrero. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate the time and effort that you guys put into to watching an hour of this stuff. So if you guys made it here, have a cookie. It's you deserve it. It's awesome. So thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of Aaron and Kahai, this is Aldrin Guerrero. We'll see you folks tomorrow at Aloha Friday Live Jam, and that's 1 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. Aloha.